One South Africa movement will be participating in the 2021 local government elections. The movement is led by the former DA leader who says their participation will come in the form of support for independent candidates. Maimane says he is not going to participate as an independent candidate for now. He joins us to tell us about the latest move. Mr. Maimane, thank you very much for your time. So first and foremost, South Africans will probably want to know why it is that you are not participating but merely lending support to independent candidates.
Good morning and good morning to fellow South Africans. You know, I think like any other citizen, we realize the urgency of being able to bring change at local government. When we started One South Africa, it became very clear that we were always a movement. We never wanted to be a political party. We were always a movement because we wanted to bring South Africans together around shared values, introduce direct election. Now, what is crucial is that what should be on the ballot box in that configuration should be the individual that you vote for, the individual that you support, the person who you say lives in my town, in my community, and we wanna get them elected. The challenge with many independents is that they haven't been able to get any training, any support, and also any oversight. And so, as One South Africa movement post meeting this weekend, we felt let us work with with communities, because I've been traveling around the country. Many more people have come back to me to say, we want our people, can you help us get them elected? So One South Africa movement is setting up that space to ensure that we participate in partnership with local directly elected people that will be endorsed by One South Africa, and to give power back to the people. So that is the precise reason why we went the route we're going.
And the qualities of the people who will be endorsed by the One South Africa movement. Let's remind South Africans again that these will be independent candidates. These are people who are not linked to political parties. So what's the criteria for someone to get an endorsement from your movement?
Absolutely. We've put out a pact that we want for the candidate to sign with the community. The pact speaks broadly to issues of one, we advance non-racialism, because we don't want racists representing people in council. We want ethical leadership, people who are already endorsed in their communities as leaders, who have not stolen anyone's money, that stand above reproach in terms of corruption, etc. We want people who will make sure our streets are safe, and that in fact they deliver basic services to people, and that ultimately people who are willing to subject themselves to accountability. So in that pact, it lays out some of the values that we want people to espouse to, and part of the training will be to distinguish what is the vision for that municipality, so that citizens know when they vote and they act. For example, they live in Bizana, they say, I want to vote for person X because this person is going to uphold these values, seek out this vision, and work with our community to achieve the things that we need. Because you and I may live in different communities, but we need someone who knows that in Dobsonville, the people maybe don't have electricity, or there's load shedding that occurs there even at unscheduled times. They call it load reduction only in those communities. So we need people who are going to be there in those communities.
Who holds them accountable, Mr. Maimane? The minute they start misusing funds, who holds them accountable, and what is the process to get them booted out if the things that they've committed are simply too egregious to have them back and continue being a councillor for that community?
So, as you know, part of the resolutions that we took this weekend is to set up a school of governance and an oversight body. And what that body would do is that when someone applies to be a candidate, they submit a threshold of signatures that are linked to their community. When they fail to do the job that the community wants them to do, we use the same signature to ask people to vote, to sign effectively a memorandum that says this person is no longer working for us. You make that submission to the city manager, and then we can deal with the independent in that manner. Because as things stand at the moment, even in the current party political system, you and I are entertained by the Zondo Commission. People have done egregious things. What sewage is running in townships, they've done nothing, but they still are in party political offices. So frankly, the question of accountability must be restored back to communities. And then the last point I want to make is that the current electoral reform bill is before Parliament now, looking at exercising that recall clause coming from communities. And I want to strengthen it to make sure that people can in fact remove a candidate who's no longer working with them.
Yeah, the implications, Mr. Maimane, I was speaking to Sai Mamabolo, the Chief Electoral Officer. What will the implications be if local elections do not go ahead this year? And I think of the very communities you're speaking about where there is sewage running in the streets. People are most probably tired of useless councillors who are not delivering services but are happy to take paychecks at the end of the day. How much longer can people live with such people at the helm?
If you want to see this country in flames, postpone election. Citizens are sick and tired of political parties. And more than anything, if you want to see the deterioration of the rule of law in terms of the Constitution stipulates more specifically than on many issues. It says a term of office will be 5 years. When you extend it willy-nilly and simply say, well, we want to blame COVID that we postpone elections, in future, you could say the same about the president and say, well, we think at this time this person must stay. Let's extend it for another 2 years. You will be violating the Constitution. And then the last point I want to make, whilst the systems may be different, but if America can get over 150 million citizens to the ballot box, as we saw in the elections, with the highest infection rate at the time, what are we as South Africans can't get at least 20 million people to appear at the ballot box? Yeah. So I think it's a silly excuse. It's poor, and it's political parties self-serving because they know they failed the people. Now they want to postpone the election.
Yeah. Finally, and I'm going to go back to that very first question I asked, why it is that you are not in the running in this current period of local government elections, because the assumption is that you're looking ahead to 2024. You want to be president. Can we start by holding you accountable at the bottom, at the coalface of service delivery, which is local government? Why don't you want to start there?
No, Coley, I think, like any other citizen, everyone has got varying competence in what they serve. And I would certainly, if the community we live in said, Mmusi Maimane, we want you to stand, that's a different conversation. But I'm certainly setting up for what is national politics, what is ensuring that we can bring policy and legislation and also create the platform now. I want to focus on making sure that we get as many independent candidates going possible. So it'd be difficult to run a personal campaign and also assist others across the country. So I'd much rather make sure that. And also, it's a much tougher job to hold a whole lot of accountable than just yourself. So I think this is the best way I can serve the people of South Africa in 2021 by ensuring that there's accountability across many independent and different affiliates that we can work with.
All right, Mmusi Maimane, leader of the One South Africa movement. Thank you very much for your time. Well, you heard it from the man himself. He's not saying 2024, but he's simply saying 2021 he wants to assist those who want to be elected now. We shall see what the future holds.